going to start by taking out some of these boards. Now using my chisel, I'm going to hold it away from the joint and I'm going to chisel down to that joint, right across the board. Now I'm going to go straight down on this joint. Now actually, you can see that nice clean piece of wood right here inside this board. That's actually the end of the tongue. If you see, I can drag it right out, and that's the tongue we're taking out of the groove. All right, now we're going to try to pull these boards out. To do that, we're going to use this flat bar right here. Swing the hammer, don't push the hammer. There you go, look at that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chisel right down the edge of this board like this, because I don't want to break out this edge of the board, and it looks like it was starting to come. So I'm just going to take it, strip right out. The reason I want to take this out is because this board right here has the tongue on it. That tongue is in the groove of this board right here. So if I pull it up wrong, it'll snap off that board. Now I'm trying to split the board. There it is, it's splitting right there, right down the length. All right, now I'm going to take the bar and I'm going to drive it right in that new split that I just made. There it is. Now the existing floor in the house is actually called strip flooring, and this is red oak. It's 2 1/4 inch wide, and you can actually buy this at the home center. And that's what we did. We actually bought a bundle. Let me show you what we have here. We have a tongue on one side, a groove on the other, a tongue on the end, and a groove on the other end. And that just fits right into place. Push it into the tongue on the long side, and you bang it right into place, and you have a nice tight joint, and that won't lift out. Now I want to measure for the first piece. Now it's very important that I hook my tape measure on the top part of the board and not the tongue. 27 1/8. Now I set my saw on a slight angle to chamfer the edge, so when I put it in, this lower edge won't hit the baseboard, but the top edge will. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to take the tongue end of the board and I want to slip it into the groove of the existing floor. I'm going to start up high, put the tongue in the end like that, right into the groove. I want to hold the tongue as close to the boards that are in place, go right by them. Now you can see the underside of the chamfer edge doesn't hit the baseboard, but the top edge does. Now you can see you have a nice tight joint. I'm going to take a scrap piece of flooring and I'm going to knock it into place. When the floor was originally installed, the installer put a filler strip right there, about 1/8 of an inch. So I made one using my table saw. I actually left the tongue on and I ripped it down, chamfering the edge on a slight bevel. Now I want to put my filler strip right into this groove right here. The tongue of the filler strip goes right in, just like that. Now I'm ready to install it. But first I want to run another bead of construction adhesive. Now I had to cut a wedge on the end of my filler strip because the original filler strip broke when we removed the floor. So a little bit of construction adhesive on the end. I have to put it in on an angle to get the tongue into the groove. I also have to hold the board to my right a little bit so the tongue will go by the end of the board. Now I'm going to take a scrap piece of flooring and I'm going to tap it in place. I can now tap the board into the groove. All right, now because this is the last piece of wood that's going in, and I measured right from the baseboard to the end of this board right here, I had to cut the tongue off or I wouldn't be able to get it into place. Okay. To hold the edge of the board down that's against the wall, I'm just going to put a tack in it until the glue dries. All right, our boards are in place. Now we're going to hit it with a sander and put a little finish on it. Now what I want to do now is I want to fill up some of these seams with some wood filler and then we'll sand it one more time. Now we're ready to put on our finish. But our first coat is going to be an alcohol-based sealer, and we're going to use a shellac, amber in color. We're going to put on a couple of coats. The first one will go on nice and light, and we'll let that dry. The amber color in the shellac looks pretty good, but what I want you to do is wait till tomorrow. Sand it with some 100 grit paper, put a little bit of stain over that, and a couple of coats of poly. Then we're ready to put the radiator back in.